brief tornado. Let's go ahead and kind of pause the radar. We got about this leading edge right here. I'm going to highlight this for you. And if you live just anywhere along this leading edge of storms, you need to be aware that there is that possibility of a brief spin-up tornado. Technically, we call these QLCS tornadoes, but leading edge tornadoes like this are not your typical long-lived, picturesque tornadoes. These things sneak up on you because you see the line of storms coming, then all of a sudden these things may only last a minute or two before they dissipate and fall apart, but you can still get tremendous wind gusts out of these things. So again, you do need to be aware of that situation. Going to continue to monitor this as it moves into western Rooks County. This is in Rooks, just north of Stockton. We've been watching that line of storms. That's the KDOT camera. We've extended that watch from northwest Kansas into south. Severe thunderstorm watch until 6 p.m. More updates for you coming up on KAKE News at 11.
Now live from the KAKE studios, this is KAKE News on your side at 11.
Thank you very much for 11. I'm Shane Ewing. Those storms move across north and they are capable of producing tornadoes, as you've not seen from Frank's coverage here. We go back to meteorologist Frank here tracking some of these storm areas.
He's flying in areas and then in some places you're essentially done with it. Here's a satellite and radar picture over the past 6 hours, kind of set the stage for you. Notice where Wichita is. Notice where the storms are. We've been doing coverage for these in north central Kansas, and let's take you in on this. New severe thunderstorm warnings coming in as we speak, and a brand new tornado warning as well. That tornado warning, southern Rooks County. Let's take you right into Rooks County. So here's Stockton. This is 183. Out here is Webster, and this storm moving kind of over Webster as we speak. If you are in Plainville, if you are kind of anywhere between Palco and Plainville, you need to be taking your tornado precautions. This leading edge right here showing indications. I mean, this is right at 258 and right at K18, kind of where this comes through, and actually 281 here, actually 281's here. So again, kind of K18, south of 183 there, Plainville area, just west of Plainville. If you are in that zone, you need to be taking your tornado precautions. A reminder for you, obviously the best place, and chances are you've heard this since you were little, the best place to be is underground. But if you do not have an underground shelter, think about it this way. You want to put as many in that storm as possible. So get to an interior room, away from windows. Again, try to cover yourself, protect yourself. This had this history of producing what we think are probably very brief spin-up tornadoes. We have not had any confirmation so far of actual tornadoes on the ground with this. But this signature right here, one of the better signatures that we've seen so far when it comes to wind speed and direction here of a possible tornado. So again, southwest of Stockton, that is moving in the vicinity of Plainville, and again, right around Zurich as well. So K18, 258, where it all comes together there, and then again, as it tracks toward Plainville, you need to be taking those tornado precautions at this time. So again, we're going to continue to monitor that. We've also got the potential here for some big time hail. And really, if you live anywhere along this leading edge, you need to know that this around Mankato has a history of ball-sized hail. That is moving to the north and east, going to be crossing K14 here before long. So again, very, very large hail with these storms. We are going to continue to watch this here. This is 183. This is just north of Stockton. We are looking back to the northwest as those storms approach. We're not done with this, Cakeland. It could be a long day. This is a severe thunderstorm watch that's been put into effect. It does include the city of Wichita. What we think is going to play out is those storms may eventually dive to the south and east. As that happens, high wind gusts are going to become a very big concern with this. So again, this is your chance to kind of prepare for that as it pushes to the south and east this afternoon. We're going to have more updates on that Rooks County storm and more updates on how today could play out. That's coming up.
All right, thank you, Frank. And we do have some storm photos for you as well. This one is a few miles southeast of Abilene. You can see the thick, heavy blue clouds hovering closer to the ground there as the rain appears to be pouring down. And these are storm clouds north of Atwood. This is from earlier this morning, what appears to be a funnel type cloud as well. Again, no confirmed tornadoes. As this coverage continues, we will keep you updated throughout the hour here on KAKE News. You can keep tabs on the weather, of course, no matter where you are by downloading the KAKE First Alert weather app. It has interactive radar, video updates, and push alerts to keep you and your family safe.
Your KAKE First Alert Forecast with meteorologist Frank Waugh.
The time now 10 after 11. Here's KAKE First Alert Doppler HD. This is the line of storms that essentially all morning long has been producing some degree of severe weather, whether it's been large hailstones. Now we're starting to get some high wind gusts with this and the potential for a tornado. Let's take you into that tornado warning. We got a tornado warning here, southern Rooks County. This thing goes until 11:30 this morning, and we will see if they continue it on out from there. Stockton, you're not in this tornado warning. You are likely getting some heavy rainfall with this. Further to the south, though, this is the concern area right around Plainville. We've been talking about this as it was crossing 258, kind of headed towards Plainville. We've said get in your tornado shelters, and if you are in Plainville, you do need to be there. If you're not getting a tornado with this, you're likely getting some high wind gusts, maybe also getting some hailstones or some wind-driven hail. So I do expect as this moves through Plainville that we are going to get some confirmation of what is going on wind-wise. So far this morning, all of these tornadoes have been radar-indicated tornadoes. So radar looking at areas along this leading edge for these what we would call just very brief spin-up tornadoes, but they can still do tremendous damage. Don't let that name deceive you. But again, that thing is in Plainville at this time already, moving to the south and east at about 30 miles per hour. We are going to continue to check in on that storm throughout this newscast. We've also got other storms producing damaging hail. Reports out of Mankato of tennis ball-sized hail this morning. That is now tracking to the north and east, right up K14. Let's take you in a little bit closer there. Let me zoom in for you. Let's go north of Mankato. So again, it's crossing K14, kind of moving out over across some fairly rural territory there in Jewell County. Along this leading edge here, let's go ahead and stop the radar for you. Along this leading edge, I mean, if you're in Portis, if you're in Alton, if you're in Mount Ayr, if you live in Osborne, as this storm system tracks to the east, these brief spin-up we're seeing in the vicinity of Plainville, you need to be aware of that. We've got meteorologist Cameron Venable. He is en route. He is actually on, what are you on? You're on K18 there, headed west. Cameron, tell me where you're at, what you're seeing, and where you're kind of targeting at this point.
Yeah, Frank, I'm on K18 going west, and as you guys can see, we can kind of see the top of the storms. We're getting mamadas indicating this complex of storms is very powerful. A little lower towards the ground, we can see the actual leading edge, the shelf cloud. I'm going to continue driving west towards that tornado warning, but like Frank said, a lot of these tornadoes are spin-up tornadoes and be rain wrapped. Very short-lived, but still have the potential to be destructive. Storms are indeed producing tornadoes. Frank?
Thanks, Cameron. Drive safe there. Again, that leading edge, I mean, that to the, let me see back up there real quick, the tool south as well. Notice there's bright colors. So we are going to continue to monitor that storm in southern Rooks County, again, as it slides east, but anywhere along that leading edge, you do have the potential to get one of those brief tornadoes spinning up. Here is a look at the satellite and radar picture, kind of giving you a depiction of way we think this may play out as we go through time. Let me kick ahead here for you and show you where we're at here. Satellite and radar picture giving you indication of those storms sliding to the east. Again, very, very robust thunderstorms. Severe thunderstorm watch in blue here. This goes until 6 p.m. Very, very large area here. And this is kind of that severe threat zone we've been talking about all morning long. Been saying all morning long, this is kind of that most likely corridor where we could see severe weather. Thinking high wind and large hail will be the most likely threats. Outside of that, it's kind of a maybe. We will see high wind, large hail. We've actually kind of kicked those wind gusts up, possibly in excess of 70, once that line starts to move to the south and east. Now, KAKE, one of our weather models, I think it's doing an okay job with most things except for the timing, and also kind of showing how robust this storm system is. It is slow with the timing by a couple of hours, but I don't want you to pay attention to timing. I want you to pay attention here to the general trend, and that is sliding to the south and east. In that vicinity where I showed you that most likely zone, that's where I think we could see those high wind gust zones with this as until 6 p.m. One way you can stay on top of this is with the KAKE First Alert weather app. get at the App Store or Google Play Store. I'll give you a half second here. If you got your phone handy, I know you do, pull up that camera. If you don't have the app, scan that QR code, click on that little bubble. So you open your camera, click on it. That'll take you to a site where you can download it. You can watch that live streaming coverage right. So should your power go out, you can also get those warnings. You can get interactive radar. I've got the camera and turn to the north as we're going to be watching these storms. That's kind of at 76. This is the view in Salina, kind of to the west. It's in Salina. South wind getting to 22 and west. Generally speaking, today we're looking at highs in the 80s and 90s. But if you've been worked over by a thunderstorm this morning, you're going to struggle a little bit to make it back into the 80s. So locations dealing with rainfall, your temperatures will be a little bit cooler. 50s and 60s by early tomorrow morning. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. High today in Wichita, 86. We'll do 84 tomorrow, 80 on Thursday. Low to mid 80s Friday, Saturday, with the middle 70s Sunday and Monday. That change Monday tapering off a little bit, but more severe weather possibility this week. Wednesday, low 80s, Saturday at the mid 70s as we cruise into Sunday and Monday. We go to West Kansas set up for you. And again, Northwest Kansas, similar situation there where we are dealing with that potential for more severe weather Wednesday, possibly into Thursday, and then a little more garden variety thunderstorm activity Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Temperatures on Sunday, that's Mother's Day, back in the upper 60s. Stay with us through the day today, and also KAKE.com. You can learn more about this. Again, KAKE First Alert Weather App, great tool to have in times like this.
Your KAKE First Alert Forecast with meteorologist Frank Waugh.
The time now 11:39. We're tracking severe storms north central Kansas. Lincoln and Russell County added into the severe thunderstorm warning game way out ahead of this line. That goes until 12:30, but that gives you an indication of where we think these storms are going. Let's go to the southern end of this. We've been watching this in around Plainville, kind of moving into southeastern Rooks County. The concern, the potential there for a possible tornado. We've got meteorologist Cameron Venable right here looking back towards the storm. Let's go ahead and go out to meteorologist Cameron Venable. Cam, what are you seeing there? It looks like it's getting awfully close to you.
Yeah, Frank, this thing is right on top of me. The wind's being sucked into the storm. You can see the big old shelf cloud in front of me, the green coloration indicating that bigger hail. And I was taking a photo just a second ago, and man, it's starting to throw out some nasty close cloud to ground lightning. So I am about to bail because the precipitation shield is just over there a little bit to my northwest, and this does have hail with it. So I'm going to reposition back to the east, but I am on Highway 18 right near the Rooks County line, and this thing looks nasty. 80-mile-per-hour winds. It has a history of that. Can certainly lead to significant damage, so you definitely want to get away from windows and go to the most interior part of your house. Frank?
Thanks, Cameron. Cameron brings up a good point there. Even with 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts, we may not be talking about tornadoes here, but that could still do some damage, particularly if you're dealing with high wind gusts like that and the potential for wind-driven hail. So again, this here is kind of Cameron's locator. I actually think he's a little further to the west, but he is going to start heading back east fairly quick as this line of storms move through. That wind gust measured by the Kansas Mesonet up around Osborne, I believe 81 miles per hour. There is likely some pretty good hail in this. That's going to be moving across southern Rooks County there just south of Round Mound, and then eventually going to be sliding to the east into Osborne County. Let's go up the line. Mankato, a place that experienced some tennis ball-sized hail. You're getting a little bit of a break right now, but more on the way out of this. Take you in just north of Cocker City there. So this is going to be in southwestern Jewell County. You could see tennis ball-sized hail, maybe bigger out of this as this goes south of Iona, crossing K128. So a nasty storm system. Luckily, right now, we don't have a tornado warning, but anywhere along that leading edge, there's the possibility of a brief spin-up tornado. And you looked back towards what Cameron was looking at there. Those tornadoes are probably going to be forming back in that rain. You are never going to see it, so don't try. just go to an interior room. And again, as that storm system moves through, you do not want to be outside. Severe thunderstorm watch, that has been issued. That is until 6 p.m. That does include Metro Wichita, includes Salina. So the thinking is these storms may track to the south and east, high wind, large hail. The greatest concern with that, this is that severe zone we've been talking about this morning. I think this is the most likely zone for severe weather. Wichita, we're kind of on the edge of this. I do think there's the distinct possibility we do, but I think it's even greater as you get into that area and then you get back further to the south and west. We'll call it the maybe zone. We could be talking about wind gusts easily in excess of 70 miles per hour. We've already had that. Hailstones topping 1.5 inches. We've had that. Flooding threat, you know what, I'm kicking that up a little bit. These things are going to be prolific rainmakers as well. Tornado threat right now, think if we see them, they're going to be short and brief. Let's use KAKE here. Now, KAKE, I think it has the general kind of motion all right with this. The timing is not great, but again, it shows that southeasterly trajectory with those storms as we head through the afternoon. Stay on top of this through the day today with the KAKE First Alert weather app. Have multiple ways of receiving alerts should they be necessary. Weather radio. Stay tuned to updates on air. Watch on your KAKE First Alert weather app should your power go out. Scan this QR code. If you're watching on the DVR, pause it, go back. Scan that QR code to get the KAKE First Alert weather app on your phone. We're looking to the north from our camera, Fort Hays State University. We're looking to the north, so I-70 is right up here. That's kind of that nasty storm moving just north of you. Here in Wichita, we are at 78 degrees, south wind at 14. It's 81 Salina, 83 Pratt, 60s, 50s, 60s, and 70s back to the northwest. Here's your forecast for today. Now, locations out ahead of this, I think we're dealing 80s and 90s. If you've had a thunderstorm roll through, you're going to likely be cooler. 50s and 60s by early tomorrow morning. We're not done with the severe weather chances yet. Tomorrow, it's a pretty big maybe when it comes to severe storms, south central Kansas, but maybe a little better bet on Thursday. More shower and storm possibilities Friday, Saturday into Sunday and Monday. Middle 70s Sunday and Monday. Let's go to Salina, Hays, Great Bend, and Russell. Low to mid 80s Wednesday, Thursday. Low to mid 80s Friday, Saturday at the middle 70s. Mother's Day into Monday of next week. Garden City, Dodge City Liberal, 86 tomorrow, 80 on Thursday, mid 70s Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Colby, Goodland, Norton Hill City, more rowdy storms possible tomorrow and Thursday. Slight chances of rain Friday, Saturday into Sunday. We've got more of KAKE News 11 coming up right after this. All right, it still continues to be active here. 2 brand new tornado warnings for you in northern Russell County. And then also right up here, the brand new one coming in. We've got meteorologist Cameron Venable out there. Let's go to Cam. What are you seeing and where do you think you're headed?
I'm on what? Yeah, Frank, I am right in front of the storm. I'm looking right towards it. I'm off 281, I believe. Let me double check. 281 south, so I'm south of the storm. The area of circulation is right where we're looking at. But as you guys can see, I mean, this is just a very large shelf cloud, kind of like what we've been talking about all morning long. Could be a spin-up tornado at the leading edge. One thing I have noticed as I'm repositioning back to the east is that there's a lot of blowing dust. There's strong winds at the leading edge. Frank?
Thanks, Cameron. There's Cameron right there. There's the leading edge and some of those higher wind gusts we're talking about. Another tornado warning just north of Beloit. Stay tuned for coverage throughout the afternoon today.
All right, thanks, Frank. And thank you so much for watching today. Again, for KAKE 4.
Stay connected with KAKE Plus, KAKE.com, and our social media. KAKE News, on your side. This is a tornado warning from KAKE First Alert.
Good afternoon, meteorologist Jay Prater here along with Frank Wong. Cameron Venable got a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for a large part of KAKE land, including Wichita, until 6 o'clock. But new severe thunderstorm warnings have been issued. Let's get you over to KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD and get you spun up on. We've got the 2 tornado warnings that are in red and then all the severe thunderstorm warnings in yellow. I'm going to take you into the tornado warnings first. Let's get you the one here in Russell County. And right in that little area there near Paradise, you can see where meteorologist Cameron Venable is. Cameron, the storm that I know it's kind of behind you at this point, you had really great eyes on it earlier. What were you seeing?
Oh man, it was just this nasty shelf cloud, lots of green coloration. It probably had at least 70, 80 mile per hour winds at the leading edge. You can see a lot of dust being sucked in as well as being blown away. Now, here I am off of 281 on Beatty Street, looking back to the west towards the southwest part of the line of storms, where if we were to see a tornado, that's kind of the favorable spot. But all morning long, it's been kind of these spin-up tornadoes. So I'm going to continue trying to stay ahead of it. But for now, I'm going to let it pass me just to the north and then start to advance back to the east. Jay?
All right, Cameron. So let's go back over to KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD, and we're going to go back into this. We have the severe thunderstorm watch obviously going on until 6 o'clock. And even though it's a severe thunderstorm watch, yes, there is the possibility of some isolated tornadoes also. So as we go over and zoom in, once again, the first tornado warning includes, right just the top of Russell County, even though that circulation is right along the county line with Osborne. Matter of fact, let me go over and switch to, I'm going to use the Hastings radar. Let's go back over to the base velocity at this point. And we're going to roll it forward over the past 30 minutes. And right in here is where you kind of see, I know you're kind of caught by that color there near Waldo, but it's right in here, right along the county line between Russell County and Osborne County, that we've got that area of circulation just to the northeast of Paradise, back to the northwest of Waldo at that point. And as we go back over to the reflectivity mode of the radar, which you're used to seeing as far as the, how hard it's raining, we'll go back over to the base reflectivity and notice that kind of flows right in there with that little area of circulation. So that's where we're kind of playing watch and wait. Now these storms all have a history of producing some very large hail, so we're going to be watching out for that today too. Now this tornado warning is until 12:30 for Russell County, and again, hail between 1.5 and 2 inches in diameter. And even though the tornado warning doesn't include southern parts of Osborne County, there is a little suspect area rotation just a couple of miles north of the county line here, north of Paradise. That is going to slide over towards the east here. Again, I'm going to put it in motion for you over the past 30 minutes, right in there. Now, meteorologist Cameron Venable is farther down to the south here on 281. That's where he is reporting from. And as we go back over to the velocity data here, we're going to go back over to the Hastings radar, take a look at that base velocity one more time. Down here is what he's looking at to see if new circulations kind of develop on this southern end. That little suspect area between Natoma and Paradise. We'll kind of keep an eye on that for you also. Let's go back over to the, I'm going to loop this over the past 30 minutes, matter of fact, so we can kind of watch that little area of circulation there. We'll see if this one, how it evolves over time. But the southern part, that's where we're going to continue to watch with Cameron. Let's slide on up to the north here. As we do, we're going to get to the other tornado warning that has been issued. Now, this tornado warning includes parts of Scottsville, and that is for parts of not only for Jewell County, but Mitchell County until 12:15. And again, this is based on a radar indication of a tornado. Jen, just how much time we got left in this net break here? So we'll continue to keep an eye on this area of circulation here as it heads over towards Scottsville. Admittedly, not really the super tight circulation with that thunderstorm. All right, so we'll keep you updated. Keep it here on KAKE.
This is a tornado warning from KAKE First Alert.
Good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Jay Prater here along with Frank Wah and also Cameron Venable. And we're live tracking tornado warnings across north central Kansas and severe thunderstorm warnings. And these are not, your garden variety 60 mile per hour wind, quarter size hail. We're talking wind gusts miles per hour and also hail that has been large as tennis balls earlier today. So we're going to zoom in here to the southern storm first, that we still have the tornado warning in effect for Russell County. And tracking that storm for us just out ahead of it is meteorologist Cameron Venable. He now joins us live. Cameron?
Yeah, Jay, I am on 281 going back north because the hail cores look like they're away from the highway. So I can get back behind the storm to see what's going on. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm driving up 281. I'm going to kind of follow behind it and see if I can find anything in the rain. But I'm going to try to stay out of the hail. And, the big thing today has been these spin-up, very brief tornadoes. Haven't had any confirmation yet, but that hazard does continue. Jay?
All right, thanks a lot, Cameron. Again, that tornado warning is for Russell County until 12:30. Hail, between 1.5 and 2 inches in diameter with that storm. And that storm continues to track kind of east-southeast. I'm going to switch over to the velocity data here. We're going to take a look at it from the Hastings radar because that's the closest one. And right on the leading edge, this would be, that's the leading edge of the storm. We're going to watch that on the leading edge. I don't really think that's the rotation that we're seeing better here and onto the southern flank. So we'll continue to watch this for you. Definitely the severe thunderstorm threat and the hail threat is what's going to be in play. Let me back the view out for you. And as we slide up across parts of north central Kansas, we do have that other tornado warning was canceled that was in effect for parts of Jewell County. But just because the tornado warning has been canceled, we're still getting leading edge, the potential for wind gusts between 70 and 80 miles per hour with this whole line of thunderstorms that has now already moved through Beloit. So this is going to head over into Cloud County, Macyville, Glasgow, eventually getting into Ottawa County around Delphus here. And even getting into southern parts of Mitchell, then sliding into Lincoln. I would be more concerned about the potential for wind gusts in excess of 70 miles per hour, and some hail will easily exceed quarters from the hail course. So let me go back over to Hastings and go back to the base reflectivity at this point. We're going to roll it forward over the past 30 minutes and kind of back the view out to give you the bigger picture. Now, this whole line of thunderstorms is kind of moving due east or a little south of east, but over time, it's going to take more of a turn to the southeast, and eventually that's going to get Wichita in play in terms of that potential anyway for seeing some of those damaging wind gusts and larger hail. So keep it on KAKE. We'll keep you updated all throughout the afternoon.
This is a tornado warning from KAKE First Alert.
Meteorologist Jay Prater along with Frank Waugh. We continue to track a severe thunderstorm watch until 6 o'clock. And the primary threats will be large hail, damaging wind gusts, but an isolated tornado or two cannot be ruled out. We still have the tornado warning in effect for Russell County. That's going to go until 12:30. And so let's take you live to Russell County right now with meteorologist Cameron Venable. Cameron?
Yeah, Jay, I am going eastbound on 281. I'm like right behind the hail core. In order to get in front of this storm, I'm probably going to have to go through the hail core. So hopefully the hail's not all that large, but we'll get some ground truth very, very soon. So far for the day, I've seen nasty shelf cloud, probably 70 to 80 mile per hour winds. And there's been a history of spin-up tornadoes, but nothing confirmed. Like you've been saying all morning, it's been a wind and hail threat, but I will let you know firsthand about the hail size as I'm about to ride through it.
All right, Cameron, guess what? We got a report of ping pong ball size hail near Waldo, so that's not too far from your location. So in addition to the tornado warning that's going to expire at the bottom of the hour here, severe thunderstorm warnings, Cloud, Ottawa, Republic until 12:30. Severe thunderstorm warning for Jewell, Mitchell, and Osborne. And then also a severe thunderstorm warning outside of the tornado warning. You see where there it's in the yellow that includes Lincoln and Russell counties. That is until 12:30. Honestly, these warnings are going to be extended, and eventually this whole line of storms is going to start to make a turn more towards the southeast. Hail, I would definitely be very concerned about here as we get into Mitchell County. This is as you head east of Beloit on US 24. That's going to roll through Asherville and then get into Cloud County and northern parts of Ottawa. So definitely, we've already seen up to tennis ball size hail earlier near Mankato from another storm. Rolling through Jewell now, that looks like that hail size is starting to diminish a little bit. And we'll kind of pan down to the south here and pick up that other storm, that larger hail. Cameron's right behind. Again, we had that ping pong report in Waldo. This is moving to the east-southeast, so Lucas expects some large hail, and then that is going to roll into Lincoln County from Sylvan Grove over towards Ash Grove. This could potentially, these thunderstorms make that dive to the southeast, could get into greater Wichita probably, after 5 or 6 o'clock this evening. So we will continue to track this for you. Keep it on KAKE. We'll keep you updated.
This is a tornado warning from KAKE First Alert.
Meteorologist Jay Prater along with Frank Waugh and Cameron Venable. We're all watching storms for you. And at the bottom of the hour at 12:30, the Weather Service allowed that tornado warning to expire. So right now we have a whole bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings. So severe thunderstorm warning, the big box here for Cloud, Ottawa, Republic County. That's until 1:15. In addition to very large hail up to 2 inches in diameter, wind gusts could easily reach 70. We've already had 70 and 81 mile per hour gusts earlier today. Ellsworth, Lincoln, and Russell severe thunderstorm warning extended into 1:30. Again, could see some occasional large hail, but the wind gust to 70 will be a very major contributor. And the severe thunderstorm warning continues until 1:15 for Jewell, Mitchell, and Osborne County. Again, the primary risk will be wind gusts in excess of 70, but there will be some occasional hail cores. Did get a report of some ping pong ball size hail near Waldo earlier. We're going to zoom in. Here's Russell County. There's that larger hail core that's tracking right along K18 here. And now we'll take you live to meteorologist Cameron Venable. Cameron, looks like you're still kind of on the backside of that heavy hail.
Yeah, Jay, that's south towards Russell and then blast back I-70. Hail was starting to get into the ping pong. I think I saw a couple golf balls. It's getting a little too risky vehicle. So I'm going to kind of take a little detour, but I'm going to get east on I-70 and try to get ahead of it. But we also have that development that stretches down towards Russell. And play with these big lines of storms, if you were to turn, it's going to be at the southern part of the line. So I might actually position better for that chance that that will happen.
All right, so let's go back over to KAKE's first. We do look at the kettle here. This is off with literally developing and being due south. So later on today, and in the early evening, even greater Wichita could potentially see some of these severe thunderstorms with the damaging wind gusts and can't even rule out an isolated tornado threat. So this whole line of thunderstorms continues to move to the kind of the east-southeast at this point, anywhere from Concordia. Look at that large hail that's rolling into western parts of Cloud County now. So south of Concordia, very large hail there. This whole line of thunderstorms, the main threat will be damaging wind gusts, and we'll keep it here on KAKE. We'll keep you updated.
This is a severe thunderstorm warning from KAKE First Alert.
Meteorologist Jay Prater here. We still have a severe thunderstorm watch until 6 o'clock, which does include greater Wichita. Let's take you live to KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD. We had tornado warnings earlier today. We have never been able to confirm a tornado, but we have had wind gusts measured 71 miles per hour and even an 81 mile per hour wind gust and hail up to tennis ball. So numerous severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, including Cloud County, Ottawa County, Republic County. That is until 1:15, and we're going to see more warnings beyond this. Now, the storms are finally starting to exit parts of Jewell, Mitchell, and Osborne, but that warning is going until 1:15. They may cancel that earlier as those storms exit those counties. And then you get into Lincoln County, Russell County, Ellsworth. Again, 70 mile per hour wind gust, and 1:30 will be the expiration, and they put the tornado possible tag on that because there is enough shear in the atmosphere. We're on the leading edge. We'll kind of watch for the potential for some spin-ups here. Let's kind of work that line from the south back up towards the north. Is Cameron available, or is he still broken up here, Jen? What do we got? Okay, well, let's try Cameron. Cameron, let's go back to you live. We're live on KAKE now. Why don't you give us an update?
Yeah, Jay, I'm dropping south on 281 towards Russell. I'm about 9 miles from Russell, and then I'm going to go east on I-70 and try to get ahead of this line of storm.
All right, I'm glad he got that out before he froze. We'll get him back again, but this is quickly moving down to the east-southeast now, so Russell getting the potential for those wind gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour, and then we'll continue to kind of slide that line. Tell you what, let's go back over and zoom into the northern extent of this. This is more of a hail threat in addition to damaging wind gusts. It's going to be south of Concordia, down through Meredith into Minneapolis. This would probably be, based on what we've seen earlier today, hail probably, inch and a half, if not larger. And the fact that we've got that pretty nice little leading line here, wind gust 70 plus, definitely in play. So don't treat this like, your generic severe thunderstorm, 60 mile per hour, quarter size hail. This is stronger than that, more of a potential to do some damage here. So you probably need to go ahead and take those precautions, especially, for anything that's exposed facing the west. I would get away from west-facing windows with this kind of wind gust and potential for hail. And then that line of thunderstorms now in Lincoln County, about to roll into Lincoln, already through, Russell County, rolling into Russell now. The hail threat will be coming in very shortly. And this whole cluster of thunderstorms is eventually going to make a turn more towards the southeast. Greater Wichita, as we get into the very late afternoon and early evening hours, and even into the night, the risk for severe thunderstorms, including wind, hail, and an isolated tornado threat. So keep it on KAKE. We'll keep you updated all throughout the afternoon and night.
Delicious North.
This is a severe thunderstorm warning from KAKE First Alert.
Good afternoon, meteorologist Jay Prater, joined by Brooklyn Ray. Now, we continue to have a severe thunderstorm watch, including greater Wichita, until 6 o'clock this evening. Let's go live over to KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD. Have plenty of severe thunderstorm warnings in progress right now. Now, earlier today, we did have some tornado warnings. We did have some circulations indicated on radar, but we never got confirmation of a tornado. But what we definitely have is large hail and lots of reports of large hail. Let's go back over into Russell County now. Into the city of Russell is meteorologist Cameron Venable. Cameron, looks like you got another hail core that may be catching up with you soon.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I was repositioning from K18 because the hail core's on the highway. So I dropped south down 281. I'm in Russell. And now due northwest of me is another hail core with probably golf balls. So just run away from the hail is what it kind of seems like. But I'm on a pretty good portion of the storm. So if this thing were to try to spin something up, I'm kind of right in the right spot. So I'm kind of sitting here for a sec, and then I'm going to start going back east on I-70 to try to get ahead of this. Jay?
All right, Cameron, tell you what, while I got you here, while you're in Russell, since it looks like that as you get into town, could there be maybe a gas station or an awning or something you can get under to protect the vehicle and give us a live report of the hail when it comes through?
Well, isn't that ironic? Because I need to get gas. So yes,
awesome.
Let's do that. And I'm actually about to pull up to a gas station momentarily. So that could be a part of the game plan.
All right, Cameron, as soon as if you do start to get into that big hail core, be sure and yell, let us know, and we'll be sure and show it to everybody, okay?
Yep, will do.
Right. Thanks a lot, Cameron. So let's go back live over to KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD. Again, this is probably given what we've seen today, easily exceeding 1.25 inches hail. And if that holds together, this is going to be a really close call for the city of Russell and to the north of Russell on US 281. This whole line of thunderstorms, some occasional wind gusts have already been measured between 70 and 80 miles per hour. That larger hail to the northeast of Sylvan Grove, Denmark, and Vesper, and then we'll continue panning over. Now, this has got a much bigger hail indication stretching from basically Concordia all the way down through Meredith as that crosses US 81. Probably 1.5 inches hail and the potential for wind gusts because this is, so it's a north-south oriented line that's coming straight out here. Easily wind gusts to 70 miles per hour I would be concerned about with that segment of the thunderstorm. Eventually later on, instead of this kind of east-southeast movement, it will be making a turn to the southeast. So Wichita, we got to keep an eye on this and keep it on KAKE. We'll keep you updated. That's it?
Yeah.
This is a severe thunderstorm warning from KAKE First Alert.
Meteorologist Jay Prater and Brooklyn Ray, we're tracking severe thunderstorms. Severe thunderstorm watch until 6 o'clock does include the city of Wichita. Notice we're canceling the counties out across north central Kansas as that threat continues to move. Pretty easy to see the thunderstorms, how they continue to develop. Numerous severe thunderstorm warnings in progress. The primary risk will be wind gusts around 70 and also some very large hail in a few spots. So Cloud, Ottawa, Republic until 1:15 severe thunderstorm warning, and also severe thunderstorm warning for northwest Ellsworth County, for Lincoln County and Russell County. Again, winds to 70 until 1:30, and we will see more warnings issued as the storm continues to progress towards the east-southeast. Let's go back live to meteorologist Cameron Venable, who is in Russell. Cameron, I know you just had kind of a little hail core pass towards you. Not really big at your location. Looks like that bigger hail. Okay, well now Ottawa, hang on, let's go and cover this a sec. We go with this, come back to me full. They just issued a tornado warning for Ottawa County and also for Cloud County. So now we're going to go and take a look at that location for you. And let me kind of clear that off the screen for you. And now we're going to zoom in to that new tornado warning that has been issued. This includes Miltonvale. So National Weather Service, brand new tornado warning has just been issued for Cloud and Ottawa until 1:30. Now, so far it's a radar indication. You can kind of see this little curl or hook on the leading edge south of US 24. That's what they're warning on. So we're going to kind of stop the motion here. We'll put this on the latest radar image. Now we're going to switch over to the radar at Hastings and go to the velocity mode. And that's why they've issued that warning there. This is wind back into the radar, away from the radar. Let me loop this over the past 30 minutes. I got to admit, the radar data, the velocity data is a little junky here, but near Oakland, that's where you can kind of make out the area circulation. So that's why the National Weather Service went ahead and issued that tornado warning. I am going to try to switch over to Topeka and see what they've got from their point of view on that. Again, not really a very distinct circulation at that. I'll tell you what, I know it's kind of far away here, but I'm going to use the Wichita radar at this point and take a look at the base velocity. And there you got the return inbound and outbound. So right around Oakland, that's where they got enough circulation. And based on, I got to admit, the circulation isn't really impressive in terms of looking at the velocity data, but what they're doing is looking at that reflectivity there and the fact that that little curl is why they've issued that radar indicated tornado warning. So around Oakland, Milton Vale, towards Browndale, be prepared to take those tornado precautions, and we will keep you updated right here on KAKE.
Choosing a treatment.
This is a tornado warning from KAKE First Alert.
Good afternoon, meteorologist Jay Prater along with Brooklyn Ray. We have a severe thunderstorm watch until 6 o'clock, but we have also a tornado warning in effect in north central Kansas. Let's zoom in here. There you see the red box. That's a tornado warning for parts of Ottawa County and also for Cloud County. We're going to zoom in here tighter and I'll highlight it for you. There it is in red. That tornado warning is until 1:30 for Cloud and Ottawa County, and also the potential for some very large hail up to 2 inches in diameter. Admittedly, the velocity data, not really strong on this one, but you see a little curl right there, that little hook, not very well defined. This has just been a radar indication at this point. And keep in mind, we're on the eastern edge of the county here, right along into the south of US 24. So skating right on pretty much the Cloud County, Ottawa County line. And then that's going to start to move out. As soon as it gets out into Clay County here, that pretty much gets out of our coverage area. And then the Topeka stations start kind of taking over at that point. As we look at the velocity data, we switch over to the Hastings radar using the base velocity. And I got to admit, this has been some what we call pretty noisy data here. You'll notice a lot of flipping around with some of the colors. But that area of circulation has been basically south of Milton Vale, if it's still there, and that's going to cross out of KAKE land here fairly shortly. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Now, I do want to go back and switch back towards meteorologist Cameron Venable, who's down to the south. He's been rolling through parts of Russell County and just avoided some larger hail earlier. Cameron, what are you in right now, and what have you been seeing?
I'm going to get into hail as we speak, actually. It looks like the hail core is just west of me. I decided not to go east on I-70 because there's a massive hail core on there now. And now I am going south on 281 towards Hoisington, then east. That puts me a little ahead of it. But yeah, there seems to be a hail core just to my west. And so I'm occasionally taking some stones as I'm driving right now. You might hear them. It's always so loud when you're getting into hail in a car. But I'll let you guys know if I run into any larger hail. Jay?
All right, matter of fact, what is crossing I-70 is some nice little hailstones. Let's go over to meteorologist Brooklyn Ray. Brooklyn, you're going to look for one of the KDOT cameras.
Yeah, that's right. This is at exit mile marker 186, I-70 east of Russell, looking west there. You can see all of that hail there. It looks kind of like snow falling out of this camera, some decent hail. It's been hailing now there from this camera for probably the last 5 minutes or so. Likely going to see some of that starting to accumulate there on the ground as well. Let's take a look at some of the pictures that we've been getting. Frank posted this one on his Facebook. This was some of the hail in Scott City this morning, and then we had another picture of some hail. Maybe if we can get that to go. There we go. There's another picture of some hail from Jewell County, and I wanted to show you this picture that we had that came in Beloit. You can see that tree has been completely uprooted and knocked over from some of those very strong wind gusts. Jay?
Yeah, and we're going to be dealing with a lot of strong wind gusts as we go through the day. Matter of fact, we're going to kind of pan over here. This whole leading edge that is about to roll into Salina could see wind gusts 60 to 70 miles per hour. So keep it on KAKE. We'll keep you updated.
Altamira.
This is a tornado warning from KAKE First Alert.
Good afternoon, meteorologist Jay Prater along with Brooklyn Ray. The tornado warning that has been issued for parts of Cloud County and also for parts of Ottawa County, that area of concern has left the tornado warning area. So even though that warning is still in effect for a few more minutes, probably going to be canceled out soon. But this entire line of thunderstorms is capable of wind gusts exceeding 70 miles per hour. We've had a history of 70 and 80 mile per hour wind gusts along with some very large hail. And that, there you go. The latest tornado warning has been issued for Clay County. That's out of the KAKE viewing area at this point. So that's where we have another potential tornado trying to develop here back to the southwest of Clay Center, but that's out of KAKE land. But this entire line of thunderstorms, the potential for damaging wind gusts in excess of 70 miles per hour. And kind of look at the southern flank of this. This continues to the east-southeast, but eventually is going to make more of a turn to the southeast. And this line of storms does have the potential eventually to get into greater Wichita as we get late afternoon into the early evening. So keep it on KAKE, and we will keep you updated.
He's been looking.
This is a severe thunderstorm warning from KAKE First Alert.
Meteorologist Jay Prater along with Brooklyn Way continue to track severe thunderstorms rolling across KAKE land. The tornado warning that was in effect for parts of Cloud and Ottawa, that has been extended for a tornado warning to Clay County. And this is one of the best circulations we have seen all day. This is out of KAKE land, so we're not going to be covering that. But this entire line of thunderstorms has a history of some wind gusts 71 to 81 miles per hour. So a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for parts of Barton, Ellsworth, Lincoln, Russell, Salina counties until 2:15. Maximum wind gust is 70. And there won't be a lot of large hail, but a few isolated spots could still produce hail, up to about tennis ball size we had earlier near Mankato, and severe thunderstorm warning for Dickinson, Ottawa counties within KAKE land and Cloud County. That is until 2:15 Central Time. Again, that tornado warning, that's a really good circulation. That's well south of Clay Center. Again, that's out of the KAKE viewing area. We'll keep an eye if that clips northern Dickinson County. Now, Cameron Venable is south of those storms right now in Barton County. And Cameron, I know you're in the process of kind of heading south so you can get way out ahead of this line once again.
Yeah, Jay, that's the case. About to turn east on K4 towards Geneseo, it looks like. But to my left, just off script, to be trying to get going. And it's a lot more pronounced than the last one. So, being at this far south on the farthest south storm, trying to rotate, definitely not out of the question. So, in good position here, I will be keeping an eye on it as I continue moving east. I'm on 281, sorry. 281 east. What? East.
All right. Thank you, Cameron. Let's go back over to KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD. I'm going to kind of slide the view over a little bit. Everything's kind of moving just south of due east. See, everything's kind of rolling this way. Later on this afternoon, it's going to make more of a turn to the southeast, and the back edge of this line will develop some more thunderstorms, and that does have the potential to get into greater Wichita as we get into the very late afternoon and early evening hours. So we're still concerned about the potential for some damaging wind gusts, some large hail, and still can't rule out an isolated tornado or two. That circulation here in Clay County looks like it's kind of wrapping back into itself, but that's one of the stronger circulations we've seen. So all ahead of this leading line of storms. Matter of fact, if we have the ability, let's take you live to Salina. This is our weather bug camera that we've got atop a KSAL, and it's 65 degrees, and the winds are out of the north, 25 miles per hour, gusting to 28. Kind of clean there. The storm is approaching from the northwest, so we're going to keep an eye on it. Still, wind gusts could easily exceed 60 miles per hour as this line of thunderstorms starts to move in. I'm meteorologist Jay Prater along with Brooklyn Ray. Keep it on KAKE. We'll keep you updated all throughout the afternoon.
I have type 2.
This is a severe thunderstorm warning from KAKE First Alert.
Meteorologist Jay Prater here along with Brooklyn Ray as we continue to track severe thunderstorms rolling across KAKE land. That tornado warning is in Clay County, which is out of the KAKE viewing area. But notice the severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, including northern Dickinson County and also Ottawa County. That is in effect until 2:15. And then the other severe thunderstorm warning for Salina, for Barton, Ellsworth, also Russell County. That is until 2:15. Potential for wind gusts to 70 miles per hour. So going to kind of zoom into this. We're going to work it from the northern edge of the storm down towards the southern edge. So let's get into northern Dickinson County at this point. Very heavy rain and the potential for hail larger than quarter sizes. It crosses K15 just to the northeast of Industry. Now, this whole heavy rain that rolls in could include wind gusts 60 to 70 on the leading edge. And so we're going to roll over towards Bennington. You got the heavy rain right now. This is rolling for Solomon. Abilene, this is going to be in there within the next 10 minutes. Salina, you're probably going to start seeing some wind gust here really momentarily. Let's take you live to Salina. This is our KAKE weather bug camera mounted atop the roof of KSAL. You can see the storm system approaching from the northwest. Unfortunately, got to kind of shoot back through the tower infrastructure to show it to you. Currently, we're at 64 degrees. The winds are gusting to 24 miles per hour. But on the leading edge of that line of storms, once it hits, wind gusts could easily exceed 60 miles per hour. Right now, they haven't been that way in Salina, but this is starting to roll into town. Let's go back over to KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD. We'll continue panning that line of storms over. We get into Ellsworth County, got that heavy rain starting to fall in Ellsworth, and then we continue moving our view over, and we get into parts of Barton County. Now, down here, there you see live, meteorologist Cameron Venable is on K4. He's booking eastbound over towards Claflin right now. So, Cameron, I take it you're basically heading back over towards what, I-135, using the route there?
Yeah, that's the game plan. I am basically paralleling these storms. They're just off to my left, and they look pretty mean. So I'm going to keep going east and try to get in front to get a good shot for you guys. But for now, I'm repositioning eastbound. And before you know it, this is going to be a lot closer to Wichita. So that's kind of the game plan for now. Jay?
All right, thanks a lot, Cameron. Notice other thunderstorms popping up here back in Ellis County. Again, also parts of Rush County. More storms will be developing back in this region, and that's what could pop into Wichita as we get into the early evening hours. So keep it on KAKE, and we'll keep you updated.
This is a severe thunderstorm warning from KAKE First Alert.
Good afternoon, meteorologist Jay Prater along with Brooklyn Ray. We're tracking a severe thunderstorm watch that includes Wichita until 6 o'clock, and we have several severe thunderstorm warnings in progress. Let's zoom in here a little bit tighter. Severe thunderstorm warning that includes parts of Dickinson County and also parts of Geary and Lyon County. That is until 3:30 Central Time. Some peak gusts could get up to about 70 miles per hour. Also, severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Ellsworth, McPherson, Rice, and Salina County until 3:15. Wind gusts approaching 60 miles per hour. And for southern Ellis County and for Rush County, that is severe thunderstorm warning until 3:15. Keep it on KAKE. We'll keep you updated as these thunderstorms start to move to the southeast.
This is a severe thunderstorm warning from KAKE First Alert.
Meteorologist Jay Prater here along with Brooklyn Ray. We still have a severe thunderstorm watch till 6 o'clock that includes Great Bend and Wichita. And even though you're not part of the watch, there is a severe thunderstorm warning that includes southern parts of Ellis County and also Rush County. And this is probably the largest hailstone chance that we've got in the state right now. Hails could easily get up to about 2 inches in diameter, along with some very heavy rainfall. Meteorologist Cameron Venable is going to be on his way over to that storm. Other severe thunderstorm warnings are tracking, including parts of Ellsworth County, McPherson County, Rice and Salina. Could still see some wind gusts, and also 3:15 for that. But the wind gusts, I think, 60-ish. And that's kind of a stretch also for Marion County into Chase County. Severe thunderstorm warning until 4 o'clock for winds to 60. Keep it on KAKE. We'll keep you updated.
This is a severe thunderstorm warning from KAKE First Alert.
A reminder, we are under severe thunderstorm, including the city of Wichita and Sedgwick County until 6 o'clock. Let's go live over to KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD, and we'll go over the severe thunderstorm warnings. The strongest storm in KAKE land, currently this one moving through Rush County, and that warning has been extended to 4 o'clock. Not really worried about damaging winds, but some large hail, 1 to 2 inches in diameter. Meteorologist Cameron Venable is on his way to intercept that storm. Other severe thunderstorm warning, including Marion County and Chase County. That is until 4 o'clock. And we did get reports from a storm chaser who was over near Lost Springs of a wind gust to 75 miles per hour. And quite honestly, this here that's blowing out, moving to the east, that's probably your best chance for seeing some damaging wind gusts as this is rolling through Chase County as we speak. I want to go back over to that storm that Cameron's in the process of intercepting here. The big hail threat now continues along K4 into the south of K4 between Bison and Temkin along K96. And this is kind of moving east-southeast. So from Temkin to Albert, this eventually will get into Barton County. So kind of a heads up in Great Bend if this continues to slide over towards you. Now let's go back and kind of zoom in over across parts of Chase County. I want to zoom in here because this is probably the better chance, unfortunately, of getting some wind gusts exceeding 60 miles per hour as this rolls into Cottonwood Falls. A little thin blue line out ahead of it, that's kind of the initial outflow boundary. So the leading wind gust is already through Cottonwood Falls, is going to be approaching Eleanor, and that'll get to the bizarre cattle pens as it crosses 177 and then gets over towards the turnpike. So keep it on KAKE. We'll keep you updated throughout the afternoon and evening.
Remember, safe digging always begins with a free call to 811.
In Kansas, when severe weather strikes, you need a plan. That's why the KAKE weather team is here, and here, and here. From the first sign of activity to when the storm breaks, KAKE has the team you can trust and the tools to keep you and your family safe. On air, online, on your device, wherever you are, we've got your back. So make your life weatherproof with KAKE, your weather authority.
It's a fun dining.
This is a severe thunderstorm warning from KAKE First Alert.
Good afternoon, meteorologist Jay Prater here along with meteorologist Brooklyn Ray. We're continuing our severe thunderstorm watch until 6 o'clock. That does include greater Wichita as we go over to KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD. Got a couple of clusters of thunderstorms. Let's go over here to this one first. This is where the Weather Service has issued a brand new severe thunderstorm warning as that builds down to the south. It now includes Pawnee and Rush County until 4:30. Not worried about the wind gusts as the potential for some very large hail. The severe thunderstorm warning continues for Rush County for 2-inch hail until 4 o'clock. And quite honestly, that is going to be extended over into Barton County shortly for that large hail potential. Now, there's meteorologist Cameron Venable. Cameron joins us live. Cameron, I notice you're westbound, intercepting.
Yeah, Jay, that decided to break a little west, and I am in Great Bend on US 56. I'm going to go on the west side of town and try to get a better view of the storm. I mean, you can see the storm in front of me, just storm structure is not really all that discernible, but definitely the main hazard from this is very large hail, so I will be staying out of that. I'll probably stay south of the storm, but for now, I'm sitting in Great Bend, keeping an eye on the sky. Jay?
All right, let's go back over to KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD. Get a little bit of weak rotation here. This is K96. So here we are in Rush County, this is southeastern Rush County. If that circulation tightens up a little bit, given the state of the atmosphere, there is a chance that the National Weather Service may upgrade that to a tornado warning. So obviously we're going to keep an eye on that storm. And then this, what's rolled through Whitewater and approaching Mount Hope, is the initial outflow boundary of that thunderstorm line. Back behind it, some heavy rain, Cottonwood Falls, maybe get a little smaller hail. Keep it on KAKE. We'll keep you up to date.
Now live from the KAKE studios, this is KAKE News on your side at 4.
Well, good afternoon. It is a KAKE First Alert Severe Weather Alert Day, and we have had some rough stuff moving through this afternoon. The KAKE weather team has been closely following what's happening out there. Let's start with Chief Meteorologist Jay Prater with the latest. Jay.
Severe thunderstorm watch, including the city of Wichita and Sedgwick County until 6 o'clock. All the counties in blue, including Salina. The primary threat will be wind and hail, but there is a small risk. And I do want to emphasize the small risk. We could see an isolated tornado or two. Now, the stronger thunderstorm at the moment, this severe thunderstorm warning, including parts of Barton County. That Barton County severe thunderstorm warning in yellow, that's going to go until 5 o'clock. Could get some very large hail between 1 and 2 inches in diameter. And then also severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Pawnee and Rush County until 4:30. Now, earlier we did see some rotation with this thunderstorm south of K96. That is weakened a bit. I'm going to go over to that. Let me go switch over to the radar using Wichita and the base velocity over the past 30 minutes. Right in here, there was a little bit of area that kind of wrapped up a little bit, but fortunately, it weakened pretty darn quickly. Now, approaching that area in Barton County is meteorologist Cameron Venable. Cameron, you got eyes on that storm. What have you got from your perspective?
Yeah, Jay, that's the case. I'm just southwest of Great Bend looking at that storm, and maybe not as impressive as the storm I saw earlier up near Natoma, but still a pretty impressive storm nonetheless. Now, down there is the southwest flank of the storm where we would see the lowering, but you'll notice there's no lowering nor wall cloud. Now, you may notice that down there. Let me adjust the camera. So you may notice that big wall. That is rain. So that's the rain and hail. So Right now, it seems like this storm is struggling a little bit because it's north of the front and it's surrounded by cooler air. And it's either going to start to cycle or it is weakening based on the radar scans. But I have a pretty good view of it right now. It looks like a big hailer coming this way towards Great Bend. Jay?
All right, let's go back over to KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD, and then we get into this line of thunderstorms here. This is just welcome rainfall from Newton to Elbing over towards Burns. Now, other severe thunderstorm warnings still in effect for parts of Chase County. Now, this includes Bazaar and over Matfield Green and the cattle pens over at the Bazaar exit on the Kansas Turnpike. That is until 4:15. Here we're expecting not really very large hail, maybe about 1 inch in diameter, but maybe some wind gusts to about 60. This is where we're more concerned about the wind gust to 60, basically along the turnpike from Cassidy, Matfield Green, over towards Emporia. That little thin line out ahead of it here from Pretty Prairie getting into North Wichita, that's the initial what we call outflow boundary. That's the cool air. The winds are going to start shifting out of the north, but that wind gust is probably only going to be around 30 to 40 miles per hour. Now, earlier when things got started today, not only do you have large hail, but also probably a little either gust tornado or weak tornado. Meteorologist Brooklyn Ray joins us now. Brooklyn, we got some user video of a storm that caused some damage while it was in Osborne County.
Yeah, absolutely. So Scott sent this video in, Scott Newsom, north of Osborne. And let me play this video. Take a look at this. Again, it does look a little messy. It looks like, if I can get that to play. There we go. Watch on the right side of this video here. You start to see it kind of focus, and then you can see some pretty decent structure of what does appear to be a tornado right about there. And he videos a little bit longer. You can see that focusing right there. Looks like a tornado to me, if not a dust tornado there. And then he decides he should probably get away from the window, so he stops videoing that. But he did say he sent that in again at around 11:24 a.m. He said it broke 4 power lines and damaged grain bins at Solomon Rapid Seeds. Again, Scott sending that in. That was earlier this morning, a really cool video that we got sent in. We also got some really good pictures, of course, a lot of hail pictures. Frank posted this one on his Facebook. This was near Scott City this morning as well. Some other hail, about 2 inches it looks like in diameter there. That was in Jewell County from this morning. Also a picture of Beloit. This is a picture of an uprooted tree there, and I think we've got a few more. This is Natoma, some decent hail accumulation there. More pictures there. If you do have any pictures, please send them to me on my Facebook, my Twitter. You can text them to that number or email them to me or any of us here at KAKE. We'd love to see them. We're looking through them through the rest of the evening, and we will be featuring those on air. Jay?
Let's go back over to meteorologist Cameron Venable. Cameron, so you got an update for us.
Yeah, it just diminished, but we had a very brief funnel at the leading edge. You can kind of see in the center frame right there. It was a pretty well-defined funnel. It lasted probably maybe 15, 20 seconds. So, you know, seeing little leading edge funnels, not out of the question as this big cluster of storms moves a little closer to Great Bend. Jay?
All right, so let's go back over. See, there's Cameron's position here, and he's looking at this storm. So that's if it gets a little curvature. I'm going to go back over and look at the velocity one more time here before we let you go. So we're going to go to the Wichita. We use the Wichita radar, the base velocity. And right there, not really seeing an area of strong circulation, but Cameron's well positioned. If this does spin up and produce a tornado, we're going to bring it to you live here on KAKE. Stay with us. We'll keep you updated all throughout the KAKE newscast.
All right, thank you, Jay. And let's take a look at a picture that someone sent to us this afternoon. This was sent in by Michelle Jones. That's at the Storm Building in North Russell County this morning. Very ominous looking, just absolute dark black in the skies there. Boy, very scary looking. You can keep tabs on the weather no matter where you are by downloading the KAKE First Alert weather app. It has interactive radar, video updates, and push alerts to keep you and your family safe.
Now, your KAKE First Alert forecast with meteorologist Jay Prater.
And once again, we're going to start with KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD and kind of get into the storm of the moment. Again, 2 separate severe thunderstorm warnings. We've got the one for Barton County. It doesn't include Great Bend, but western Barton County, that's until 5 o'clock. Again, large hail, the primary threat there. And then we get into the other severe thunderstorm warning for Rush County and just parts of Pawnee County. That is until 4:30, again, for the potential for large hail. And as you scoot along US 56, you can see Cameron Venable is there live. Cameron is on the southern flank of that thunderstorm. And I know you had a little brief funnel earlier. What have you got now?
Yeah, Jay, that's the case. I'm on 56 in Pawnee County. I'm southwest of Pawnee Rock now. Earlier on the slightly more north flank of the other storm, there was a brief funnel, but now I'm looking at the southwest flank of the southern storm. So we're looking down by the clearing, and so far you can't really see anything. We do see scud, cloud fragments being sucked up into the storm, and then of course there's that wall of rain. So that's the rain and very large hail. So want to stay away from that, but I'm in the vantage point. If this thing starts to lower, starts to rotate more, I will have a good visibility if it does try to tornado. Jay?
All right, the National Weather Service updating that severe thunderstorm watch for parts of Pawnee County and also for Rush County. That severe thunderstorm watch is going to be extended to 4:30. Again, they dropped that hail size down to about 1.5 inches in diameter. So here are the two hail cores near Ash Valley and also south of Heiser, and that may get into Great Bend, so we'll have to watch that. As far as, taking a look at any kind of rotation in the storms, let's go over to the velocity information out of Wichita. Let's roll that forward over the past 30 minutes. Okay, rotating thunderstorm, yeah, but not a real tight area rotation, but we will continue to watch that for you. Now, this is just welcome rain from Newton, Whitewater, DeGraff over towards Cassidy. The only risk of maybe seeing some gusty winds up to 60 miles per hour is crossing the turnpike from Matfield Green and getting down into parts of northern Greenwood County. So that's why there's also a severe thunderstorm warning for Greenwood County. We'll go ahead and highlight that for you. There you go. The severe thunderstorm warning includes Matfield Green, so for a part of Chase County, but for Greenwood County, and that's going to be until 5:15, and also extreme eastern Butler. And as we slide down to the south, that is what we call the outflow boundary. So that's coming into Wichita now. That's the wind shifting out of the north and basically some much cooler air back behind it. Now, when these storms are really bubbling up earlier today, they were really making the largest hail. Meteorologist Brooklyn Ray joins us now. Brooklyn, you got some of the hailstones from some of these storms.
Yeah, I do. I've got some more pictures to show you. We've got lots of photos in, lots of hail pictures, so please send them our way. We will get to feature them. This is a look at a picture along I-70 near Russell. Tim sent this picture, and it looks like some snow along the highway. No, that is hail. We saw a lot of hail falling along I-70, start to kind of accumulate there on the sides of the roadways. That was earlier in the day. Lenora, this one is from Lenora. Sandy Nelson sending this picture, and you can see some decent quarter up to golf ball, maybe a little bit bigger in size hailstones there. And one more pretty cool picture of a shelf cloud. This was sent in from Karen Panter. This was from Smith County earlier. Again, you can see the cool little cross in the picture there. If you do have pictures from these storms, or here later this evening you do see some more pictures, please send them my way. Send them to me on Facebook, my Twitter. You can text them to me or email as way. We'll be filtering through all of those pictures, getting them featured on air and online. Jay?
All right, thanks a lot, Brooklyn. Let's go live outside. Here we are, the view from the Kansas Aviation Museum, as that outflow boundary, that line of thunderstorms as well to the north, that leading wind gust is moving through. It's 82 degrees. Now, it hasn't gotten to the Kansas Aviation Museum yet. The winds are still out of the east at 13, but they're turning north as that moves across town. As we go to Hutch, notice how it is cooled to 63 with the winds out of the northeast gusting to 32 miles per hour. Salina, yeah, the rain and thunderstorms run through earlier. It is down to 63 degrees. Those winds are gusting to 21 miles per hour. Contrast that with Goodland. It's 80 with the winds gusting to 28. So temperatures across KAKE land, can you tell where the storms have been? Yeah, it's 60 in Hayes, 62 in Russell, and where the storms haven't, 96 degrees in Liberal. And as that cooler air starts to come through, look at the rain's already cooled it down to 68 in El Dorado. It's 84 miles an hour, but that dropping quickly. The winds even away from the thunderstorm is going to be breezy across southwest Kansas, and it's going to continue to be breezy overnight tonight. We finally got that moisture back to help fuel those storms. The exception, look at far southwest Kansas, extremely dry air. We go back 12 hours ago. This started this morning. That was some of the larger hail reports. Mankato had tennis ball size hail this morning. And as we back out the view, that system over the water vapor, that right there is going to bring chance for severe weather ramping up on Thursday. So we're dealing with this now as this continues to move down to the southeast. Wichita, we could still get some rain and thunder in here, probably 6 to 7 o'clock. Not as concerned in Wichita proper at this time. And then overnight tonight, it's more of an isolated storm chance early in the evening. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to be watching western Kansas. It's going to be your turn, especially at the late afternoon and evening. A line of strong severe thunderstorms. Again, wind and hail will be the primary threat. And then as we get into Thursday afternoon, we're going to see how that system that I showed you that lifts out and comes our way, how that potentially impacts another round of severe weather across KAKE land. So tomorrow, the threat is going to be across western Kansas. We're talking about damaging wind gusts and hail primarily. Can't rule out an isolated tornado. As far as the breeze away from the storms, it's still going to be breezy overnight tonight across parts of western Kansas. During the day tomorrow, once we get into the afternoon, peak gusts still 25, 35 miles per hour for Goodland, for Syracuse, for Garden City, for Johnson. Wichita is not going to be as gusty. And then even overnight, Wednesday night into Thursday, it is still breezy. And you got that strong storm chance. And then watch what happens by Thursday afternoon, out ahead of that developing storm system, that developing more widespread chance of severe weather. We're going to see wind gusts, again, 25 to 35, even a few places in western Kansas up to about 40 miles per hour. As its impact temperatures, it's another very mild start in the 60s. And then tomorrow afternoon, much of the state easily into the 80s. We get into Thursday morning. Thursday morning still starting in the 60s, and Thursday afternoon not going to be quite as warm. We're going to be mostly in the 70s. Parts of southwest Kansas could still get up into the 80s. So for Wichita and south central Kansas overnight tonight, again, not as widespread as what with Kansas this morning. Tomorrow, it's not really going to be until in the morning there's a small chance, but really it's Wednesday night. We may get back into a chance of storms after a high of 84 degrees. The best chance of severe weather comes late Thursday afternoon into Thursday night. But look at that little cool down Sunday. We're going to be in the mid-70s and smaller storm chances also across north central. The storms will be moving out of north central Kansas. 58 Hays, 62 Salina. Tomorrow could see a few strong storms, especially as we get into the early overnight hours. 85 Hays, 86 in Salina. Thursday, a better chance of severe coming back. And then as we get into the weekend, down into the 70s, Sunday and Monday. And across the west, southwest Kansas, you know what? You're pretty much going to miss out on the storms. Northwest, storms have already rolled out. It is tomorrow afternoon and evening that severe threat comes back after a day of highs in the 80s versus the 90s. Thursday, southwest Kansas may miss out on some of that severe threat. It may stay more to the northwest. Highs are going to be down to the 70s starting on Saturday. And across northwest Kansas, it's that risk of severe weather. And then even on Thursday, we're going to see if that pops up again. By the time we get to Saturday, temperatures are going to be closer to 70s on Monday and again on Tuesday. All right, let's get you updated on what's going on with the severe thunderstorms across parts of KAKE land. They extended the severe thunderstorm warning. It includes parts of Pawnee County now into Stafford County until 5:30. Again, not only very large hail, but peak wind gusts 60 to 70 miles per hour. Also severe thunderstorm warning extended for Barton County. This does include Ellenwood and also Great Bend. That is until 5:45. Right there, meteorologist Cameron Venable is perfectly positioned as, I got to admit, Cameron, just a couple of volume scans ago, that looked like some pretty monster hail heading your way. It looks like it's still on the big size, but not as big as it was just about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that, Jay. I am on O Road, and right in front of me looks to be some sort of lowering. Somebody reported a rotating wall cloud. I can't see if it's rotating with my eyes. I've been watching it for a while. But as you can see, I mean, we're right on the edge of this precipitation and hail core. It's due west of me as we're looking at it. But it is sucking in so much dust into this storm. So there's a lot of inflow. So this thing is, the storm is trying to do something. Look at the right side there. So we're getting little fingers down. But once again, this is getting a little close. I'm going to have to bail or I'll get into said 2-inch hail. Okay?
All right, so we've switched over to the velocity mode of the radar. So we're keeping an eye here. Not a real obvious area of circulation at this point, but we will continue to watch it. Other parts of the thunderstorms, you know, we had that outflow boundary come through the Kansas Aviation Museum. We recorded a wind gust to 51 miles per hour. So you're feeling the temperature drop outside in Wichita right now as that cooler air rolls in. And a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust was reported in Hamilton over in Greenwood County. So that is still a borderline strong to severe thunderstorm. Keep it on KAKE, and we'll keep you updated all throughout this newscast.
Now, your KAKE First Alert forecast with meteorologist Jay Prater.
Severe thunderstorm watch still in effect for the counties in blue from Great Bend down to Wichita, El Dorado, and Eureka, and that is until 6 o'clock. So now let's go live over to KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD and get you spun up on all the warnings that are still in effect. Boy, this storm here looks kind of back up again, but we had a report from a reliable chaser that I trust of 3-inch hail when this was falling to the north. Honestly, it looks like it's probably up to 3-inch hail. That's some very large hail. So this is for Pawnee and Stafford County, a severe thunderstorm warning until 5. There was for 2-inch, but they have confirmed 3-inch hail with this thunderstorm. Now what's rolling into Great Bend looks like that is weakened, so that's going to be some very small pea-size hail and some heavy rain. Meteorologist Cameron Venable is watching that storm for us. Cameron, what are you seeing from your location?
Well, hearing that there was 3-inch hail, I am glad I bailed out of Larned. I'm dropping south going towards Belpre. I'm going to flip around because it's trying to organize a little more of a lowering on the southwest part of the storm. So, I mean, it is trying something. There's been a lot of inflow. So this storm has been trying for a while to try to spin up and tighten. So I'm definitely going to be watching that. But I'm glad I got out of the hail. Jay?
All right, let's get back over to the velocity. And you see Cameron down here at the bottom of the screen. Cameron, if you're kind of reading the mail on me here, if US 56 between Pawnee Rock and Larned, and pick up the radar data here, it looks like there might be some circulation trying to get going here. And if so, that would be between Larned and Radium. So I don't know what kind of road grid you got where you could probably get back and put some eyes on that part of the thunderstorm, but we're going to keep an eye on it. Great Bend, not seeing any circulation there, but again, that is a severe thunderstorm warning. That includes Great Bend and Ellenwood for Barton County. That is until 5:45. What was that again, Brooke? Okay, let's go back over to Cameron. Cameron, I understand you got the storm now. Go for it.
All right, so I flipped around, Jay, and that's kind of what we're looking at the moment. That's right where it's trying to rotate, so it looks pretty disorganized at the moment, but this is probably the most pronounced type of lowering and scud features we've seen of the day. So this is looking right into that.
All right, Cameron, so you keep it honest. Let us know if we need to get back over to you. Elsewhere, what's rolling through Wichita now is just welcome rainfall. Augusta, it's welcome rainfall. That little thin line's the outflow boundary. That's what came through earlier and dropped the temperature down into the 60s. Now, the leading edge of this, over in Greenwood County, we're still getting some occasional wind gust reports exceeding 60 miles per hour. So they've extended the severe thunderstorm warning for, parts of Greene County until 6:15, and that will be continued south for Elk County also until 6:15 for the potential for some very strong wind gusts with that line of thunderstorms. Now, let's take a line from the Aviation Museum. It has dropped down to winds are gusting to 46. We did have a peak gust to 51 miles per hour. We're starting to get the heavy rain here at the KAKE Studios. Now, First National Bank of Hutch, it's 65. Get a little thinning of that cloud cover. You go to Salina. Notice how we're getting some sunshine, and we're at 65 degrees. Southwest Kansas, it is sunny. That's that severe thunderstorm over in Pawnee County. We're seeing it that far away. Southwest Kansas is hot. It is 91 with the winds gusting to 9 miles per hour. And we go to Goodland. Goodland's got quite a little bit of sunshine, but it's 80 with the winds gusting to 28 miles per hour. So where the rain has been falling, 60s, 90s Southwest Kansas, and you got 87 in Winfield and 84 in Independence. The winds, even away from the thunderstorms, breezy across Southwest Kansas, and they're going to stay breezy to windy overnight tonight. Look at all that moisture that came back here to help feed those thunderstorms. As we look at the satellite radar combined, this got going early this morning. Very large hail, including tennis ball size hail near Mankato. That's the largest hail report other than that 3-inch report that we got over in Pawnee County. And then this system here, we go with the water vapor, that is going to give us another round of more widespread severe weather coming up on Thursday. So right now what's rolling into Wichita I doubt is going to be severe. Honestly, we have kind of maybe dodged the bullet in terms of severe threat. We're just embracing the rain that's coming through now. And it's Wednesday afternoon, very late in the evening, that we could see a round of severe storms developing in western Kansas. Then on Thursday, kind of a wild card as that system kicks out from the Pacific of just how widespread the severe weather threat is going to be. So check back. So tomorrow, here's our area of concern, especially as you head over towards the Colorado line for damaging wind gusts, some large hail. Can't rule out an isolated tornado tomorrow. As far as the winds overnight tonight, they're still going to be quite breezy across parts of western Kansas. And as we get into Wednesday afternoon, overnight, Wednesday night, it is going to be very windy across western Kansas ahead of the storm system. Temperatures at 10 o'clock tonight, we're going to be in the 70s, but tomorrow morning, look at that. We're going to start out in the 60s across much of the state, and then tomorrow, highs will rebound into the 80s. I don't think we're going to see many 90s across southwest Kansas, but mostly into the 80s. And even as we get into the day on Thursday, Thursday morning starting 60s and 50s, and by Thursday afternoon, not going to be quite upward. Highs are going to be mostly in the 70s and even some of the lower 80s across parts of southwest Kansas. So as far as the forecast for the rest of the night tonight, we're dealing with the chance of scattered severe storms is going to be basically Greenwood County and Elk. I think elsewhere we're looking at basically rain. Will drop down into the 60s, and then tomorrow, yeah, it's a smaller chance of isolated storms. It'll be really Wednesday night. And then 84 will be the high in Wichita. And we're going to keep you updated on the weather, so join us at the top of the hour at KAKE News at 5.
Now live from the KAKE studios, this is KAKE News on your side at 5.
It is a KAKE First Alert Severe Weather Alert Day. Storms have been marching across the state this afternoon. Some have been severe, and now we have rain here at the KAKE studios.
Yeah, let's get right over to Chief Meteorologist Jay Prater, who's been tracking the storms for us all day long. Jay.
Let's start with a watch area. We're talking until 6 o'clock. We got a severe thunderstorm watch. It does include the city of Wichita. Now let's get over to the active warnings. Here's a look at KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD. And I want you to get into the storm of the moment. We got a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings here. This one includes parts of Stafford County and Pawnee County until 5:30. We've already had hail up to 3 inches in diameter with this storm earlier, but still looks like that's settled down slightly. But hail between 1 and 2 inches in diameter, and the potential for some damaging wind gusts up to about 70 miles per hour. And also, we got another severe thunderstorm warning that includes parts of Barton County that goes for Great Bend and Ellenwood until 5:45. Admittedly, that thunderstorm is already starting to weaken. Not really as concerned about that thunderstorm there. Now, meteorologist Cameron Venable is down here to the south, down along K-19, and he's keeping an eye on the thunderstorm that's under the severe thunderstorm warning around Larned. Cameron, what are you seeing from your perspective?
Yeah, Jay, I've been watching that storm for a while. The southern storm had some nice lowerings to it, but it seems like that northern storm just to the east of Larned is a lot more dominant. So I'm going to drop south towards Belpre and then start moving back east. And I got a couple north options. I should be able to make it in time, but it does look like the storm is really trying to start to wrap up. So it's something we need to watch. Jay?
Right, let's go back over to KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD. So Cameron's trying to get back in a position to come back and look right in here in the Bears cage, and I'll show you why. Let's go over and look at the velocity data. Let's go off the Wichita radar. We're going to look at base velocity of 0.5 degrees, and that is an area of circulation we're watching between Larned and Ray. And is that going to track to the east here? I'm going to put it in motion for you over the past 30 minutes. I'm going to zoom in a little bit tighter. And if this rotation, that's wind going away from the radar and towards the radar, right along K-19 between Larned, Ray, and Radium, if that gets a little tighter, the Weather Service may be inclined to issue a tornado warning. So Cameron's trying to reposition himself where he can get back in and keep an eye on that particular part of the thunderstorm. So this is kind of the storm of the moment in KAKE land that we are continuing to watch. Now, as we push the view back, what's rolling into Wichita is welcome rainfall. I know we got a severe thunderstorm warning in effect here, but we haven't had any gusts that have been over 60 miles per hour in Wichita, but I'm going to run down the current warnings for you. So for parts of Sedgwick County, including Wichita, Cowley County, Butler, Chautauqua, Sumner, severe thunderstorm warning until 5:45. The National Weather Service just basically saying, hey, along this line of thunderstorms, we're going to give you that blanket warning, and that continues off to the east. That little thin blue line, that's your initial outflow boundary. That's when the wind shifts out of the north. You get that cool air. The temperature drops from the 80s down into the 60s very quickly. That's going to help reduce the tornado threat, and this is just very welcome rainfall. The potential for some wind gusts exceeding 50 miles per hour is still basically over into Greenwood County now. Did get a few wind gust reports, 60 to 66 miles per hour around Eureka earlier this afternoon, and that continues to work its way down to the south. But honestly, it's that storm over in Pawnee County that we are going to continue to watch very closely. Now, earlier when this got cranking this morning, we had very large hail, and including at least probably a weak tornado or gust area. Meteorologist Brooklyn Ray joins us now live with a look back at that storm near Osborne.
Yeah, so just north of Osborne, Scott Newsom sent this video in. Let me play this video for you. This is what we think a suspected tornado is as we're looking at this picture. Kind of goes out of focus there as this video continues to play, but you can kind of see that funnel there. Just kind of towards the right of this video there, and it gets a little bit clearer. You should be able to see this It is not a confirmed tornado. Again, that was at 11:30 this morning north of Osborne, and then you can see he decides he should probably get away from that window as that tornado, suspected tornado, got a little bit closer. He did say that produced or did damage some of those trees, some of the power lines in that area. Again, we've had lots of pictures sent in of hail. This one is from Great Bend at 4:50, so just about 20 minutes ago. Kathy Ashball sending this picture in. Very small hail there, but we have had some large reports of some large hail coming in from those storms in southwest Cakeland right now. Jewell County, this was earlier this morning. Large hail there. Look at this hailstone coming in from Larned. Tom G sent this picture in. You can see the little spikes coming off of that hailstone there. You can see hail covering this lady's deck. This is Amy Doyle out of Natoma. This was earlier this afternoon as well. And then finally another large hailstone. Looks like 2-3 inch almost hailstone there coming in from Larned as well. Tom G also sending that picture. And if you would like to send in some pictures, if you have some, there's one more for us. Sandy Nelson sending that one in from Lenora, Kansas. Please send them to me on my Facebook page, Twitter. You can text them or email them to me. We are going to continue to be sorting through all of those pictures that we get. It's really nice to be able to see what is actually happening in your location of Cakeland. So please send us those pictures. We'll continue to feature those for you. Jay?
All right, thanks a lot, Brooklyn. And keep in mind, we got this strong to severe weather threat going on now. Even what was on with Cameron, that could potentially roll through Hutch and eventually get into Wichita later on this evening. So even though what's going through now is not severe, we're not quite done with that severe potential. Then after we get past about midnight tonight, things are going to settle down. And then later on, we're going to be talking about tomorrow, including another risk of severe weather for western Kansas, including damaging wind gusts, the potential for large hail, and even isolated tornadoes too. David?
Now, your KAKE First Alert forecast with meteorologist Jay Prater.
Let's take a look at the current watch that does include the city of Wichita. That's until 6 o'clock. Great Bend, Wichita, El Dorado. That may be extended past 6 a little bit for parts of southeast Kansas. We'll see how that goes. But let's go over to KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD, and we're going to start basically with the storm of the moment. You can clearly see that nice little curl now that's south of K19, south of Ray now down to the southwest. Let's go over to meteorologist Cameron Venable. Cameron is like due south of that, and Cameron, as you look over to your left or look back to the north, what do you see? I know you're not going to be able to put the camera on it, but tell us what's going on from your location.
Oh yeah, I mean, Jay, this is just a textbook high precipitation HP supercell. Like you were saying earlier, you're not going to be able to see anything unless you're in the Bears gauge. And that's going to be the rain and hail core, and you know why it's called the Bears gauge, because there might be a tornado in there. But like you said, this storm is wrapping up. This is easily the storm of the day, and I'm paralleling it. I have a north option out of Maxville, but I just can't make it in time. So I'm going to start going north out of St. John. But even then, it's just going to keep playing, try to get a couple peeks at it, and then have to keep going east. So that's kind of the game plan right now. But in terms of visibility, there is no visibility. It's just a mean-looking HP supercell. Jay?
That's a mean look. And I want to, there is a severe thunderstorm warning as we speak. Pretty easy to see that little curl there. And now I'm going to go over to the velocity data. And once I switch over, you'll notice that, yeah, this thing is really kind of starting to tighten up a little bit. So very strong area circulation between Larned and Radium along K19. If that continues to get tighter, the Weather Service may upgrade that to a tornado warning. Cameron's in the process of basically, he's heading eastbound and his plans to come back up northbound on 281 here to put himself in a position to at least hopefully see in there. But even though you got a real tight circulation, here's the problem with this thunderstorm. Notice how it's getting completely surrounded by the heavy rain. So we're going to get to the point where even it's producing a tornado, we're not going to see it because we're just going to have a heck of a rain curtain here. So if you're anywhere from Radium, Seward, even St. John, you're going to need to keep a very close eye on this storm. It has a history of up to 3-inch hail and it could produce a tornado if that continues to tighten up. So go ahead and take those precautions now as that moves away from Larned and it gets deeper into Stafford County. Again, that is the storm of the moment we're keeping an eye on. What's rolled through Wichita is just beneficial, welcome rainfall. Even through Augusta and Eureka, this is all very welcome rain. As far as the wind gusts exceeding 60 miles per hour, that's more likely southern parts of Greenwood County down to Elk and maybe Chautauqua. For Cowley, for Sumner, for Sedgwick, I really don't think those wind gusts are going to be approaching 60 miles per hour, even though we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 5:45. So we'll continue to keep an eye on these storms. And in addition to the wind, we have had at times some really big hail today. We really appreciate you sharing our pictures. Let's go to meteorologist Brooklyn Ray. Brooklyn?
Yeah, we just got another report in. A train spotter reported just west of Radium, Kansas, 2.5-inch hail. So large hail coming out of that storm. I did just get a picture sent in. I'll show you that in just a second. Also had some very pretty pictures, some really cool pictures sent in from these storms that have not been producing that hail or that rain. Just pictures from outside of the storm. Smith County, this was sent in from Karen Panter earlier this afternoon. Lots of those pretty storm pictures. Southern Mitchell County, this was at noon today. Again, that storm, very picturesque there. We've got a shot of that lightning in Rice County, the Ellsworth County line at 1:35 this afternoon. Just sending that picture in. We also had some down trees. There's a look at that uprooted tree that was in Beloit. Rita sending this one in. That was earlier this morning, and this was the latest picture I just got in from Larned. Again, that is that storm that we have been talking about that Cameron is getting closer to. Very large hailstones and lots of hail coming from that storm. Please continue sending me pictures. I have actually just gotten several here in the last couple of minutes, so I'm going to go sort through all of those. Please send them to me on my Facebook, Twitter. You can text them or email them to me. Jay?
All right, thanks a lot, Brooklyn. Now we're going to go live to the Kansas Aviation Museum. It is beneficial rainfall and 61 degrees. The winds are gusting to 41 miles per hour. Notice the clouds are already starting to thin out in Hutch, where we're at 66. And then we head up to Salina. Had the storms rolled through earlier, we're down to 68 degrees. It's hot in southwest Kansas, but you see that right there? That is the top of that severe thunderstorm that Cameron is tracking right now that's rolling out of Pawnee County. We'll keep an eye on that. It is currently 91 degrees. And then we head over to northwest Kansas in Goodland. It is currently 80 with those winds gusting to 28 miles per hour. You can tell where it's rating with 60s versus where it hasn't, including 96 degrees in Liberal. Away from the storms, the winds are still going to be gusty. And we got all that fuel. Look at those dew points in the 50s and 60s compared to extreme southwest Kansas. So as we look at the satellite and radar, this is diving towards south, but coming up on Thursday, this very powerful storm system right there will bring us yet another round of severe weather. We're dealing with today. As we get into tomorrow, we're going to be dealing with a chance of severe weather across western Kansas. So overnight tonight, we're going to really kind of have a few isolated storms. And then tomorrow afternoon and early evening, western Kansas, that's your chance for severe weather. And then coming up on Thursday, there is another potential for a round of severe weather as that storm comes off the Pacific. So we're going to monitor what's going on across KAKE land, and we'll keep you updated on the severe weather threat as KAKE News continues after the break.
Did you know you can save with GoodRx?
This is a severe thunderstorm warning from KAKE First Alert.
Meteorologist Jay Prater here. We continue to track the severe thunderstorm warnings across KAKE land. And the strongest storm that we're following right now is this one that's clearly in Stafford County. It's going to be northwest of Stafford along 281. Let's go live to meteorologist Bryce Kintai. And Bryce, storm's almost kind of caught up with you at this point.
Yeah, that's correct, Jay. So I'm about 6 miles north of Stafford, and I have to kind of keep moving off to the east. The storm is moving east-southeast about 25 miles per hour, and it was moving slower, so it was easier to kind of keep an eye and not have to move all the time. But now we're moving back off to the east to stay ahead of this.
All right, thanks, Bryce. So we'll get you updated at KAKE News at 6. Good news is not really the strongest rotation we've seen on it, but still a pretty nice little circulation just to the northwest of Bryce's location. And this is northwestern Stafford County. There's the city of Stafford there. There's Maxville. We'll continue to track this for you. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue in effect for Stafford County. That's until 6:30 for the potential for large hail and damaging wind gusts. And for the eastern half of Stafford County, northern Pratt County until 6:45. And we're continuing to watch other thunderstorms develop on the backside of that from north of Pleasant Ridge over towards Ash Valley and Pawnee County, even into Rush County around La Crosse. For Wichita, we've already had the strong winds blow through here. Things are starting to settle down. Severe thunderstorm warning still in effect for parts of Elk County and also Greenwood County until 6:15, and also for parts of Chautauqua County. Complete update coming up at the top of the hour on KAKE News at 6.
Now live from the KAKE studios, this is KAKE News on your side at 6.
The big story tonight is our weather, and it is a KAKE First Alert Severe Weather Alert Day.
From rain and hail to tornado warning, severe weather is rolling across KAKE land tonight. Let's get right over to Chief Meteorologist Jay Prater for a look at what's going on.
We still continue that severe thunderstorm watch until 6 o'clock, and honestly maybe extended a little bit for extreme southeast Kansas, and it does include the city of Wichita. So now we're going to go live to KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD. Got severe thunderstorm warnings for parts of Elk County, Greenwood County, and Chautauqua. But over across central Kansas, we get into central Kansas. This is Stafford County. Still got a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings for Stafford County until 6:30, and also for the eastern part of Stafford, northern Pratt. That is until 6:45. Now let's go live to meteorologist Cameron Venable. Cameron, you got a great look at the shelf cloud of that storm that is heading your way.
Yeah, Jay, I can't tell you how many shelf clouds I've seen today, and this one's definitely ranking up there. This is easily the storm of the day. I'm just west of Stafford, and you can see that real dark green coloration. There is some very large hail in this. Storm's moving to the east-southeast around 25 to 30, so having to reposition every now and then. It looks like it's about time to reposition, but before you know it, we're almost in south-central Kansas now, so you know, this is getting a little closer to home, closer to Hutchinson. There even might be a cell merger because there's another storm near Partridge. So I'm curious to see what happens with that. Jay?
All right, let's go back over to KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD. And so Cameron's looking back at the leading edge of that storm. Still the potential for some hail larger than quarter size. As we go over to the velocity, one thing I definitely want to look at with the velocity mode of the radar, and we'll switch over to that. There you go. Earlier, we were getting some really interesting rotation with that storm, but we're not seeing a very tight rotation. It's just a very broad rotation. Earlier, when it was back in parts of Pawnee, getting into western Stafford County, we were kind of concerned that it may reorganize itself into a tornado warning, but that has not been the case. Other thunderstorms popping up back behind this one. You still get Pawnee County back to the west of Lorna. That could be larger than 1-inch hail. Wouldn't be surprised if a severe thunderstorm warning comes out for that. Also get into Rush County near La Crosse. Now let's get into south central into southeast Kansas, where a severe thunderstorm warning still continues for parts of Elk and Greenwood County until 6:15, and also for Chautauqua County until 6:45. The potential for leading edge wind gusts that could exceed 60 miles per hour. Now, Wichita, things have settled down. You got showers down to the south at this point, but when this line of thunderstorms first came through, it did produce some wind gusts that caused some trees to get knocked down along with some other damage. Let's go over to meteorologist Brooklyn Ray. You got video of, you're about to show us, wind damage around Wichita, but also earlier in Osborne County, maybe a little brief tornado.
Yeah, that's right. I've got two different videos that we have gotten sent in that I want to show you. The first one was right here in West Wichita. Take a look at this video. I'm going to play this video. It happens very, very quickly. We watch a basketball goal get completely knocked down right there by that strong wind gust that pushed through Wichita. Poor basketball goal now broken. We also had another video again that was a suspected tornado. This was North Osborne. This was earlier this morning, 11:24. You'll notice this video kind of goes in the zoom there, but watch as that focuses. Watch on the right side of this video. You can see what looks like a tornado kind of take shape there as it gets a little bit closer. Again, this is north of Osborne. This was earlier this morning. This video sent in from Scott. Look at that. There it is, that video. And he quickly decides, I got to get out of there. I got to get away from the windows and get in shelter. Of course, that storm north of Osborne, that was way earlier this morning. We've had lots of pictures, videos sent in, lots of hail pictures I'm going to show you in a little bit. If you have any videos or pictures you want to send, please send them to me on my Facebook. You can send them on Twitter, my phone number, or an email there, and I will get those featured. We've been sorting through them all afternoon. Would love to continue to do so. Jay?
All right, Brooke, we'll check back with you later on for some of the hail pictures and some of the other pictures. Now, as we move forward here, thunderstorm chances for Wichita are not done. We could still potentially have round two later on this evening of another stronger storm. But once we get past midnight tonight, things are finally going to settle down. And then guess what? Tomorrow, we're dealing with another risk of severe weather, but this will be primarily a western Kansas situation late tomorrow afternoon and evening with damaging wind and hail. And then more of KAKE land will see a risk of severe weather coming up on Thursday. We're tracking it all ahead.
All right.
Now, your KAKE First Alert forecast with meteorologist Jay Prater.
Well, the severe thunderstorm watch for 6 o'clock has been canceled, and then now we got to do it until 11 o'clock. The only county in KAKE land is Elk, and then the rest of southeast Kansas, because the severe thunderstorm watch didn't really account for these storms on the backside of the system here. Let's go over and show you the kind of the storm of the moment. This one has the largest hail in KAKE land, and we still have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings associated with it for parts of until 6:45, and then you get Stafford counties for St. John's and Maxwell. That warning is going until 6:30. Let's go back over to meteorologist Cameron Venable, who's joining us live once again. Wow, very impressive picture of the leading edge shelf on that storm.
Yeah, that's the case, Jay. I mean, this has a beautiful leading edge shelf cloud. We can see some what looks to be some lower clouds behind it, some scud and stuff. But switch cameras so you have a slightly more or less obstructed view. And man, that is a beautiful looking storm. You can still see the bluish green coloration behind the shelf cloud, indicating that rain and larger hail. So, I mean, we're still dealing with a high precipitation HP supercell, and just going to have to keep moving back east to stay ahead of it. Jay?
All right, let's go back over to it. And yeah, this is still the potential for some hail cores here that could exceed an inch in diameter. Fortunately, it looks like St. John, you're going to miss out on the biggest hail. That kind of redeveloped over to the east side of you and back down to the southwest. And it's probably going to stay to the west as that crosses near the intersection of US 50 and US 281. Now, this was a rotating thunderstorm earlier. Not really seeing the strong indications of rotation at this point in time. You know, got some, wind gusts here coming in from St. John, but not a real tightly rotating thunderstorm. So we'll continue to watch that. And as we kind of back the view out, notice other thunderstorms that developed on the backside. Heavy thunderstorm Rush County here in La Crosse. And we get back into Pawnee County. Fortunately, this is weakening before it gets to Larned, but along K156, just to the north of Roselle there, notice that was probably some, 1 to 2 inch hail that spiked up. Now we start moving to the southeast corner of KAKE land. Chautauqua County, Elk County still got that severe thunderstorm warning that includes parts of Elk County, and that warning is going to continue until 6:15. Again, maybe some wind gusts to about 60 miles per hour, but that quickly is going to start to push out of KAKE land, and then we get into just some scattered showers around greater Wichita. Earlier, winds gusty enough to knock down a basketball goal and knock a few trees down, but that's pretty calm. But we're not done with a chance of maybe another thunderstorm overnight tonight. A lot of pretty pictures, including some hailstones coming into KAKE. Meteorologist Brooklyn Ray joins us now with a look of some of your content. Brooklyn?
Yeah, we've got in for us. Here's a look at just some of those that we've seen from today. This picture sent in from Great Bend. A little hailstone there. Of course, it's hard to tell how big it is because of his little hand, the kid that is holding it. Look at this hail covering the grass, as well as some street flooding. This was in Larned about an hour and a half ago as those severe storms pushed through the area. It looks like it's all hailstones. Here's another picture from Larned. A lot of pictures sent in there. Look at all the different size and shape hailstones there. Again, that picture sent in from Larned. Here's another one from Larned, about 2.5 inch hailstone there. That can do some damage as that is falling. There is another one, same location. Tom G sent those pictures in. You can see the little spikes going off of that one, not your typical just circular hailstone with that. Again, we have seen a lot of pictures of hail, of wind damage. Please continue to send in your pictures. You can send it to my Facebook, Twitter. You can text me there or email them to me. We'll continue to sort through those and feature those on air and online. Jay?
Thank you very much, Brooklyn. Let's go live back to the Kansas Aviation Museum where, we cooled from the 80s to 65 and the wind gusts have settled down to 28 miles per hour. We're looking off to the northwest from Hutch because that thunderstorm that's over in Stafford County eventually will get into Reno County. So we're looking off at that storm in the distance where right now it's 65 degrees. The winds are gusting to 12. And another shower has rolled back into Salina. It's 66 degrees. The winds are only gusting to 15. Southwest Kansas, you missed out on the action today. You're seeing the tops of the thunderstorm well off to your east. After warming into the 90s, it's into the 80s. The winds are gusting to 41 miles per hour. And in Goodland, whole lot of sunshine, 78 degrees, winds gusting to 30 miles per hour. Look at the impact of the rain-cooled air. Compared to 88 in Medicine Lodge, it is 97 degrees in Liberal. The winds, even across western Kansas, away from those thunderstorms, a little breezy today. Super dry air far southwest Kansas. That's why it warmed into the upper 90s. Here you go over the past 12 hours. That line of thunderstorms diving to the south, and that cluster could still produce a storm that comes into Wichita. But what we're going to be watching, not only another round of severe weather tomorrow, but what's rolling on the Pacific coast, that has an impact on us on Thursday also. So there's the cluster of thunderstorms that dives down to the south. After midnight, that settles down, but then watch what happens late tomorrow afternoon and evening. That's when western Kansas will become in play for the potential for severe thunderstorms. And then as we get into the day Thursday, we're so far out, not a lot of confidence, but severe weather starting potentially in western Kansas and working its way eastward as we get into the afternoon and evening. So tomorrow, it'll be western Kansas. We're watching for wind and hail, maybe an isolated tornado. Thursday, we may be including more of KAKE land. Winds overnight tonight. They're going to stay breezy across central and western Kansas. During the day tomorrow, it's going to be another breezy to windy day. Southwest Kansas could see some peak wind gusts 40 to 50 plus. Now, that's not necessarily storm related. That's just winds flowing in from the south and southeast. Even Thursday is going to be a breezy to windy day, especially across western Kansas. Wichita probably getting those gusts to around 30 miles per hour. Impact on temperatures? Well, tomorrow morning, very mild. I mean, 60s to start, and we're going to warm into the 80s. Don't think we're going to see 90s making it across southwest Kansas tomorrow. And as we look ahead to Thursday, again, a very mild start with 50s and 60s, and by Thursday afternoon, not going to be as warm on Wednesday, but we're still going to have that risk of severe weather. So for Wichita and South Central, yes, that risk of a scattered severe storm is starting to wane a little bit. Wichita, we're not done. We could still see another thunderstorm roll through here about 8 or 9 o'clock, but then tomorrow it would really be a small chance of an isolated storm once we get into tomorrow night. That high about 84 degrees, and then we're going to watch that Thursday window for another potential of severe weather. Beyond that, it's that time of year. Isolated storm chances in the forecast, elevated on Sunday with the next cool down, getting highs into the 70s. For north central, well, the storms, they're going to start to roll out. Now to 58 Hays, 62 Salina. Tomorrow, that chance is really best once we get into Wednesday night of a few strong storms. Highs will be in the mid-80s. But the big question mark is what's going to happen Thursday and Thursday night. Now the risk of severe weather, more isolated storm chances as we get into the start of the weekend. More scattered to numerous storms on Sunday. And with that, also highs coming down into the 70s. And for western Kansas tonight, southwest just kind of dry and quiet. Clouds increasing late across northwest Kansas, and then tomorrow late afternoon and evening, that's when we run the risk of severe thunderstorms, best as you get closer to the Colorado line. Thursday, Friday, southwest Kansas, an isolated storm chance, not as worried about the severe threat, and then highs back down to the 60s for the weekend. And even across northwest Kansas, we got that risk of severe weather late tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. Highs drop into the 70s on Thursday. Still a chance of more scattered thunderstorms. Even a day in the upper 60s on Sunday. And then highs will be back in the mid 70s on Monday and again on Tuesday. Now let's go back over to KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD. We still continue to track severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Stafford and northern Pratt County. And the potential for hail larger than quarter size stretching from south of Hudson. This has already passed St. John to the east, and this will continue moving east. So if that holds together, expect a severe thunderstorm warning to be coming out for parts of Reno County as that's going to head over towards Huntsville and eventually Turon. And if it holds together, that could even get into Hutch. In terms of, let me switch over to some velocity data here. Still a rotating thunderstorm, but broad rotation at this point, and we'll just kind of play and keep an eye on it. Other thunderstorms popping up back behind this system. I do want to point out, this is what we call an outflow boundary, the cool air of the storms. That's the dry line with that super dry air. Notice how we're starting to pop up some thunderstorms moving into southwest Kansas. So it'll be interesting to see if this lid that's over the southwest holds tight or if this is going to pop up even more storms. We will keep you updated on this throughout this KAKE newscast.
Now, your KAKE First Alert forecast with meteorologist Jay Prater.
And once again, we're going to start live with KAKE's First Alert Doppler HD. We got the severe thunderstorm warning still in progress for northern Pratt County and for eastern parts of Stafford. And if this thunderstorm holds together, that's until 6:45. They're going to probably extend the warning over into parts of western Reno. Let's go live over to meteorologist Cameron Venable. He's on US 50, and still great looking shot of that storm approaching you.
Yeah, exactly, Jay. I mean, this storm has just been very photogenic. I mean, look at this huge shelf cloud once again. We do have a little area of lowering. Let me see if I can move the camera towards that back there a little bit. But I mean, that sometimes happens at these shelf clouds. We haven't really seen much rotation overall in a while. So I mean, this is your textbook high precipitation supercell. There's probably quite a bit of large hail still in there, but I'm staying ahead of it. I'm in Reno County now, so I'm getting closer and closer to Hutchinson and eventually Wichita. Jay?
All right, so we go back over to the radar. And again, it's a broadly rotating thunderstorm. The green, going away from the radar, the red coming back towards. So, it's a broadly rotating storm. And, we've got Bryce looking on that too. Don't really see anything that's imminently going to ramp up. It's going to be more of a wind and a hail threat than anything else. Notice other storms are popping up on the backside of this one, especially southern La Crosse County, back into northwestern Pawnee around Burdett. Any one of these could potentially produce some hail up to about quarter size. Now, remember, thunderstorms exhaust all this, this cooler air, and that flows out, just like kind of pouring water on a table. It flows across the table. This is that outflow boundary on the radar. This other line is the dry line. We got very dry air far southwest Kansas and much moist air here. So that dry line is starting to collide with that outflow boundary. You notice a few thunderstorms are trying to pop off over the top of that once that outflow boundary comes through. So we'll see just how many storms develop in southwest Kansas. I think it's only going to be a handful. The lid or the cap of the atmosphere still holding pretty tight across southwest. As we get down into Chautauqua County, thunderstorm bringing heavy rain to Sedan and Chautauqua, but that's pushing very quickly down into Oklahoma. And we're seeing some other scattered showers basically, across parts of Sumner County and Cowley County. As we continue looking over towards the Kansas Aviation Museum, we've got plenty of cloud cover. Right now it is 67 degrees. The winds are gusting to 27 miles per hour. We go over to the First National Bank of Hutch. We're looking off to the west. That's that storm over in Stafford County. It is 65 degrees. And we go over to KSAL. Got showers have rolled back into Salina, and it's 65. And then we go over to Garden City. You can see those thunderstorms trying to pop off over towards the northeast and east of town. And we've cooled to 79. Remember, we talked about the outflow boundary, that cooler air has flowed through the winds around the northeast, gusting to 40 miles per hour. So you got to enjoy the fact that we've cooled from the 90s into the upper 70s. And in northwest Kansas and Goodland, look at that lone thunderstorm building off the distance over in Colorado with plenty of sunshine, and it's currently 78 degrees. Now, earlier today, we had the thunderstorms going on this morning. Thank you for sharing your pictures of, the storm clouds, the hail, the damage. Meteorologist Brooklyn Ray joins us now with a look at some of those. Brooklyn?
Yeah, very photogenic storms for us here across KAKE land today, and you guys have taken lots of pictures and sent those in, so thank you again for sending those. Let's look at some of those. Smith County photo earlier this morning. This is a shelf cloud. This was sent in from Karen Panter. Really photogenic picture there. Here's a look at some hail that we were sent from Natoma. This was earlier this morning. Amy Doyle sending that in. Kind of looks like snow covering the deck there, but that is a bunch of tiny little hailstones. Here's another picture, 2-inch hail that we saw in Jewel County earlier this morning. Thank you for sending that picture in. Also some tree damage. We saw this tree uprooted. This was in Beloit. This was earlier this morning as well. Rita sending that picture in. And then some more hailstones in Larned. We of course saw a lot of hail there in Larned. We've gotten a lot of pictures, but we hopefully will continue to get pictures from you as storms push through your area. You can send those pictures to me. My Facebook, Twitter, my phone number, and my email, all great ways to get us those pictures. It's nice for us to be able to see and confirm what is happening in your corner of KAKE land. Jay?
All right, thanks a lot, Brooklyn. You can tell where the rain's been falling. 60s compared to that 97 degrees in Liberal. We talked about, got the gusty winds, even gusting to 45 miles per hour. That's just that outflow boundary. And we showed you the very dry air. I mean, you got 58 for Dew Point and Garden City. It's down to 6 in Johnson and 9 in Elkhart. So the intersection of that dry line and that outflow boundary may pop up a few more thunderstorms. Here we go in the back 12 hours. Thunderstorms started this morning, including some tennis ball size hail in Mankato earlier today. And what we're going to be watching, not only got a risk of severe thunderstorms tomorrow, but this system here, when it kicks out Thursday, that could be a more widespread chance for severe weather for more of KAKE land. So let's talk about what's out there now. Is going to really settle down after about 10 o'clock tonight. Could still see an isolated storm, maybe north central Kansas kind of starting the day with a shower, but it is late tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening that we're going to be watching western Kansas for the risk of some stronger severe thunderstorms. And then as we get into Thursday, that risk is going to develop starting in western Kansas and then start working its way across the state. So tomorrow, that's going to be our area of concern, wind and hail, more of an isolated tornado threat. Check back to see how Thursday is going to turn out. As far as winds, it's still going to be breezy overnight tonight. Wednesday is going to be a breezy day across western Kansas. We even could see some peak gusts exceeding 50 miles per hour, the extreme southwest corner of KAKE land, and that's not even storm related. Temperatures tomorrow afternoon, well, they're going to be, depending on where you are, A little warmer than today. I think we're going to be 80s. The exception, southwest Kansas, not going to be as hot. We're not going to get into the 90s. So Wichita, South Central overnight, it's going to be more of a spotty thunderstorm chance, down about 64. And then tomorrow, that chance of an isolated thunderstorm really doesn't pop up until we get into tomorrow night. That high, 84 degrees. And then as you look at the planner, Thursday is really the next better chance for some stronger severe storms. We'll keep isolated storms in the forecast 70 Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And for north central tonight, thunderstorms that are popping now will move out. Down about 58 Hays, 62 Salina. The risk really ramps up again tomorrow night of a few strong storms. 85 Hays, 86 Salina. The question is Thursday, the risk of strong severe storms, and then it will cool down into the 70s starting on Sunday with more scattered thunderstorms possible. We're just that time of year where you can have any given thunderstorms days, but not necessarily everybody's going to see a storm. And then you get into parts of western Kansas. You're going to see the clouds increasing late northwest. An isolated storm is possible across southwest Kansas. And then tomorrow, highs are going to be in the 80s. That thunderstorm threat really pops up in the evening that could be strong to severe. And then beyond that, 70s for the weekend coming up, and the isolated storm chances will continue, even though they're small, at least through the weekend, and even across northwest. Tomorrow afternoon and evening, and potentially on Thursday, could see some strong to severe thunderstorms again. And then highs are going to be in the mid-70s Monday and again on Tuesday. While we continue to track the severe thunderstorms rolling across KAKE land, overall, the intensity has weakened for most storms, but we still got 2 severe thunderstorm warnings for parts of Stafford County, northern Pratt. That's until 7:15. This one for southern Stafford and western Pratt County. That's until 7:30. Both of these storms capable of producing 1 to 2 inch hail, along with wind gusts that could exceed 60 miles per hour. And this is about to cross into Reno County. I think it's very likely severe thunderstorm warning is going to be extended into Reno County, in less than about 5 minutes here. And we'll keep an eye on these storms for you. Now, elsewhere, we're watching other borderline strong severe storms near Jetmore, Burdett, even between Burdett and Ash Valley and Larned. If these get a little stronger, primarily it'll be a hail threat that we're keeping an eye on. For greater Wichita, I'm not really as concerned. And then across southwest Kansas, we'll see if we get a few more thunderstorms popping up as that outflow boundary moves through. Keep it on KAKE. We'll keep you updated.
Stay connected with KAKE Plus, KAKE.com, and our social media. KAKE News, on your side.